Boom, we're going. But hell yeah, man.
Let's
Great to
go.
see you.
Good to see you too, brother. Yeah, so Huey's wedding was the last time I saw you. What a beautiful wedding too. That was such a sick spot
It
over in
was.
Detroit.
It
Yeah.
was, dude. And I don't know what they paid for that place, but it was a mint.
That's that's always my favorite game going to a wedding is playing how much did this cost?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because
I was
like,
just over
no, go
go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead, man.
I was just over in Chicago and there was one on at the Chicago Athletic Club. I was like, this dude, they had a hors d'oeuvres. One of the hors d'oeuvres was lobster rolls, mini lobster rolls
Yeah, that adds
as
up.
an hors d'oeuvre, as a hors d'oeuvre. Anyways,
Yeah, because you know how it is. You have that budget, and I mean, if you can hit like within 10 grand of that, you did pretty darn good.
heck yeah, yeah. I mean, it's crazy what you can. I was just talking with Coach Bush about this yesterday because he was over here for Memorial Day. Like what people drop on a wedding nowadays. That's why he was telling me about Colin Steinhauer's wedding and what that was.
Where
He
was that
said it was
at?
crazy. It was at it was over in Clarkston, somewhere in
Okay.
Clarkston, and probably like a golf course or something like that. But that was awesome. But
Did you guys get after it
um,
yesterday?
we did. We got it done. We got it done. Had Brad Bush was over. He's been here every year we've had Murph since we opened.
Hell yeah.
Um, Denny came over. He comes and does it with us. So it was a good crew. But it rained the whole time, and it just kind of added to the suck, which was great. That's kind of the point of Murph.
Yep.
I think people get too caught up in the time and like the PR and trying to game it. It's like, no, just make it suck. Like choose the hardest way to do it. Don't try to break a PR. Don't try to break a world record. Just don't look at the clock and let it hurt. That's the whole point. It's supposed to be a meditation. So that's a little soapbox, but yeah, we got it done
You guys were outside for it then?
most of the time.
Pull-ups in the rain. Let's go.
We took one of the old Samson racks from the old weight room. And so we keep that outside. And so we do the pull ups out there when we can.
Hell yeah. That's
It's
awesome.
good.
Was that at
It's
your
good.
at your gym or was it at your crib?
At our gym. At
Hell
our
yeah.
gym.
And where's that at?
Yeah. So we're right in Holland. We're on the north side of Holland, a couple miles out of town, and we got a solid lot. We got about 6,000 square feet there. Um,
I'd
about
say.
4,000 floor of usable space, and it can pack it in, especially with Murph. I mean, that's just body weight, so you get people in tight spaces. It's great.
Yeah. I want to get into that too, man, but I also kind of want to start from the beginning. So you
Mhm.
graduated in 11, correct?
Yep.
And I
Yep. One
graduated
ahead of
in,
you.
yep, and I graduated in 12. And dude, I
Hmm.
remember, do you remember Mr. Knight's like kind of fitness class in one of the classrooms way back in the day? Where it
In
was like a
eighth
little,
grade. In eighth grade,
I think it
or
was,
like
yeah.
yeah.
It was way back then. And so you would have been in eighth grade. I would have been in seventh grade. And that was kind of at least my initial eye-opening view to weightlifting and stuff like that. It clearly
Hmm.
wasn't your first go in experience with weightlifting because I just remember being like, what is up with this dude? Like, you've always been in such great shape. And that a lot of that came from your old man, correct?
A lot of that comes from Denny. Yeah, it's just spent a lot of time when we were younger. Spending and not like getting on a workout plan or anything like that. He just take us to the weight room with him. Um, yeah, every Sunday we go Sunday morning and McCulloughs and a couple other people and just would they would get a workout in and then I would just kind of fuck around on with dumbbells and stuff. And then after a while you just get more interested into it. And then soon enough you're 10 years old and you're like, all right, what do I need to do to like be good at this? I want to bench this. And then you kind of get into the numbers and that's yeah. So by the time seventh, eighth grade rolled around, yeah, I'd been around it for a decent amount of time. Having Daryl, my older brother, ahead of me, I mean, at that point he was already through high school and he had already done the whole shindig. So he'd already done all that. So kind of knowing what it takes at that level and what I would need to be doing to get there. So yeah, that was by the time we were doing that in Mr. Knight's class,
Mhm.
that was fun though. I mean, we was on like carpets. We were doing a lot of
Dude,
band
yeah.
stuff. There was still like the blackboard on the front of it. That was great.
Yeah. I was thinking about that the other day. Just I knew we had this coming up, so I was just thinking of times that we've had and shit. And I'll never forget that because I was like, man, this is clearly his not his first time in a room like this. And I remember you telling me like you guys would be getting up early and getting after it once you got a little bit more involved. Is that all?
Mhm.
Was that all how it went down?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think it was sixth grade. My brother used to wake me up at like 6 in the morning before the bus came, go out, do some plyos. We had an old Vertimax. Do you remember? Did you ever play around on a Vertimax?
No, what is
It's
it?
this
Maybe. What
evil
is it?
contra it's evil contraption. It's just a platform that has bungees hooked up to it. And back in the day, people used to do it for like jump training and it would just decelerate you super quick. You jump up, decelerate you, and pull you right back down. So yeah, get up 6 a.m., crank on that for 45 minutes, hit the bus, go to school, be a sixth grader, which is weird, you know, after sweating for an hour. So yeah, yeah.
You remember the thing that I miss most about those days and especially high school, because I think that's when we probably all really, really got into it. And I think the
Mhm.
majority of my audience doesn't really understand what our high school weightlifting program was like. So every time I go home, I kind of go into the gym and try to post a video or reel or an explanation about kind of what it's like, but you're never really gonna totally understand that unless you come and check it out.
Mhm.
But I do my best. And my the part I miss most is that we could be working all day, every day in that gym. But we would eat, at least me, I would eat whatever the hell I wanted, and it would not matter. I would not get fat. You just burn it clean
Yeah.
off. And it just, dude, I miss those days because now I train just as hard, if not harder. But if I don't eat good, I'm putting that weight on in bad spots, brother.
That's the getting old. We're a couple of old goats now. You got to watch that stuff. It's yeah. I was thinking back the other day when um like just the shit that I used to eat for like lunches, like eating like a hot lunch from school, like Bosco sticks. You remember Bosco sticks back in the day?
Far too
And
well.
that was a lunch.
Yep.
Like that probably had 6 grams of protein,
Mm-hmm.
but 80 G carb, 50 G, like just some marinara sauce and the chocolate milk to wash it down. Go over,
Then go send it
squat
on some
three.
of them sugar cookies, at least a pack of those, dog.
The
Yep.
sugar cookies, the ones that are they're so doughy,
Yep.
they're like saran wrap. Oh man. Yeah, and then you'd go to advanced fitness and like hit a 315 squat, no problem.
No problem.
No problem. Didn't need any protein.
Bro, that's
You're
still the most I've ever squatted was sophomore year of high school to this day.
really?
To this day. Yeah, like
What was it?
375.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
like a quad on that. And I was like, no problem. Like went to baseball
Yeah.
practice after. Like, dude, if I threw that on now, I'd die. And like I don't look anything like I used to look. Like I look way better, but I'm definitely not as
Mhm.
strong in that category at least. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's strange
It's
how that works. Like I look jacked, but I'm really not as strong as I was in high school, which doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't add up.
it's you had a you had the high school hormones going too. I mean,
That's what it
your
was.
testosterone was through the roof. Yeah, that was a special time. I like you said, like you and I both probably look way more fit now than we did in high school. And even now, like at the gym, I'll squat and stuff and I can still get some decent numbers. But people are like, "Oh, what's the best you've ever squatted?" I'm like, "Oh, this is a shy weight compared to what I used to be able to do when I was like 235, just a linebacker, like throwing up. I mean, I remember one time with B Pauls, we did like I did a four 95 for 5 to a box below parallel. That would absolutely make my spine explode
Just
now.
bury it now. Yeah.
Just absolutely make me explode. My knee, my I would need my hip would probably burst.
Yo.
Like this shit you got to deal with now, man. But so you're getting after some stuff at that I keep a track on you on your Instagram. You get after some stuff at that gym. You're getting some CrossFit type stuff. Get on the ski, do some interval work.
I've really
What
switched
are you
it up,
doing?
man. I got really big into, I've always enjoyed lifting, right? But I got really big into ultra running for like 4 or 5 years, but I would still
Yeah.
lift during that. But it was just such a wear and tear on my body, like my knees
Mm,
and my hips. And I kind of, at least for the time being, think that I've gotten everything I've wanted out of those experiences. So I'm like,
yeah.
dude, I gotta find that dopamine somewhere. And I can't just like go
Hmm.
hit a bro lift and get that. So
No.
that's where it's like, okay, we're doing this for time, or we're doing, as many rounds as I can. And I like that watch. I like that time clicking. I want to see
Hmm.
how fast I can do something. And then, my gym, it's a High Rocks affiliated gym, so we got a lot of skiers and assault bikes, and I've really kind of dove into that over the past year. I can't get enough of it, dude. Like I have to
Yeah.
force myself to like hit a bro lift every other day because I don't know if it's necessarily healthy to be like jacking your heart rate up 180 plus every day. So, but I love it. It's so addicting. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's been fun. And I know that you're really into CrossFit style workouts, correct?
Personally, yeah, I still do it. Yeah.
Yeah, for you.
Um, yeah, and then that's the methodology we use for our group training at the gym too.
Good for you.
That's get after all that. It's definitely I think especially for former athletes like ourselves, like it scratches that itch. The the thing that we kind of got established on summer mornings, like it's the same type of shit. It's that same feeling that you get from it. And then once you get that feeling again, you're just chasing the dragon. And it's
Exactly.
but you gotta be able to program it right and um periodize it right and play your recovery correct. Like that's most too often people get in, they get excited, they get burnt out because you're not paying attention to volume, joint loading, things like that. And but for former athletes, it's one of the best things you can do for sure. And you can do it for the rest of your life. And if you scale correctly and do the right things.
And
So
like you said, it scratches that competitive itch. Like there's still an aspect of competitiveness to going through a wad like that.
yeah.
And we need that,
Yeah.
man. I know I do. I gotta have
Hmm.
something. That's why I got into that ultra scene. It was like I wasn't competing against anybody else, but I was competing against myself and just that dark, dark cave that you go into where you really figure out like who's Tyler, right? That's
Yeah.
I still get that training how I train now. It's just it's not for as long of a time, obviously. It's not for days on end. But I don't need it to be days on end anymore. I just need it for
Yeah.
30 to 60 minutes and I'm good. And then I'm good for the day and then we'll hit it again tomorrow.
I wanted to ask you about some of your ultra stuff. And you mentioned earlier that you got out of it what you needed or something. You said something like that.
Yeah.
Um, I'm curious what that was. What did you find out of that?
I found out who I was when shit is really not going my way.
Hmm.
Like truly. Um, Especially with pain management. Pain management is really a skill that I think you can develop because there's always a point in time where something is going to give out. Like my will won't. Like I'm not just going to
Hmm.
quit, but eventually it's like I can't walk on this leg anymore. Therefore, I'm not going to be able to make the time in order to complete this next loop. Therefore, my race is over. But I didn't quit,
Yeah.
right? I just go until my body says, you're good. And going back to the pain management thing, I realized when I thought that I was done that I really wasn't. The pain didn't get any worse. It was just realizing that, hey, this hurts. It's not going to hurt any more than it already does. So you're
Hmm.
either going to quit or you're going to get over it and keep going. And my coach told me that at the last race that I did. He's like, it's not going to get any worse. You're either going to quit or you're just going to keep fucking going. What's it going to be? I was like, well, I mean, I flew all the way here. I'm not just going to quit. Like, I guess I'm just going to have to hobble my ass around on this broken ass knee that I got working. So I really found out that there's a huge difference between like being hurt and being injured. And then these, I was, you have such dark thoughts when you're in that amount of pain, and you learn how to deal with loneliness, and you become more thankful for the things that you do have. Like right after this podcast, maybe you'll cook a little
Mhm.
dinner. You got a nice, warm, cozy bed. You might want to take a warm shower, all the food and drink that you want. When you're out there
Mhm.
just grinding it out, you don't have all those things. I've ran out of water multiple times, and I'm always thankful after a race to just go to the fridge and grab a bottle of water.
Yeah.
So those are the kind of things that I was, I guess, looking for, not knowing that I was actually looking for them. But once I found them, I learned and appreciated just everyday life a little bit more. And the pain management thing, I think that you can apply a lot of ultra running scenarios to real life, right? Like
Yeah.
you might be hurting in real life, but you're not going to hurt any more than you're hurting right now.
Right.
You just going to give up and call it a day, or you're going to keep pushing and get till tomorrow or get till the next
Yeah.
whistle. So that's what I think that I was looking for, not knowing that I was looking for that, but when I found it, I was like, hell yeah, I'm good for a while.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah,
Finding that in yourself that you have what it takes to adapt to a situation that's not ideal.
at all.
That's and this ideal situation is not going to get any better for the foreseeable future.
Hmm.
But you just got to. It's that next bite. Take that next bite.
Yeah.
That's so sick, man. It's um
You just have a choice to make.
right.
It's really that simple. Like
Yeah.
you can lay down and die, or just get comfortable being in a really shitty spot until it's over, because it'll end. It's not going to go forever, regardless
Right.
of what it is, a race or something terrible going on in real life. It's not going to last forever, and
Right.
you just got to keep going.
Yeah. And people look at that stuff so crazy. They're like, oh, you did because you're. I remember you did that ultra marathon that's on a cadence. Like you have to do so much in such amount of time to keep it going, and you just go until you can't. Right.
That's the one I'm
It's
referring to. I've done that twice. Yeah, it's called the Mid-State Mile. I've talked about it on here. Usually this time of year, every for the past 2 years. But yeah, 20-minute
okay.
loop. You got to finish within 20 minutes. And if you don't, I mean, your race is over. They cut your wristband off and take a seat, kid. That's it. Yeah.
That's a mind fuck too. That's because you got to keep the pace. It's not just like an ultra where you can slow down and finish.
Hmm.
Like it's okay. Where are you going to break? Where's your
Yeah.
breaking point?
Yeah.
Was there like an end time or is it just like, hey, we're going to go till the last man standing?
It's a last man standing. And for people who aren't, maybe they're new to the show, the kicker with it, you're like 20 minutes for a mile. That's really doable. Yeah, definitely. But there's 340 foot of elevation gained and lost. So I
Yeah.
mean, 340 feet per mile is a rip.
That's not, yeah, 340 feet. That's not a small amount of gain in a mile to
No,
go up
no,
and down.
it's a rip, dude. And the climbing was always just fine. I could climb as good as anybody. Those downhills, though, dude, they
Yeah.
just smoked my knees and my hips so bad.
Mhm.
As you go up, you got to come down, obviously.
That's what'll tear you up. And your muscles get torn up. That's what makes you sore the next day for sure.
Oh, yeah, for like
Um,
the next 2 weeks.
and how else in modern society in your life are you thankful for water? Are you like, thank God that I have water available right now?
Just the hunting trips that I
Like,
go on, dude. I've been on some bad hunting trips where you're drinking out of streams or you might run out. And yeah, when you make it back, you're like, this is great.
yeah, yeah,
Especially that shower too, man. Like, good grief. You wouldn't
a
think that
good
it'd
hot
be,
shower.
dude, you can't beat it. But you don't
Feel
know
like
what it's
you're,
like unless you don't have access to it. You take all this
hmm
little life shit for granted. Like you're sitting out on your porch right now, beautiful weather, comfortable, probably got a lemonade next to you, whatever it is you're drinking, got flowers, like you ain't worried, got your feet
oh
up.
yeah,
You don't have that when you put yourself in bad positions purposefully. You wouldn't
hmm
appreciate that.
right, right. It's you. I wouldn't enjoy just sitting on the back deck, being able to not be uncomfortable. Like that's getting so comfortable, being uncomfortable makes being comfortable so good.
Well said. Dude, let's so I it's this thing. How old are you? 32?
30,
You're
30.
30? So you're young for
Yeah,
your grade then.
a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm 30.
yeah.
Interesting.
31.
Maybe.
I can't even fucking remember anymore. This is 2024. I just turned 31 in February.
Gotcha.
That's it. I can't even remember anymore, dude. That's how old I'm getting.
Fair enough.
That
So
shit.
hear me out here. And we haven't talked in a long time, but I mean, I'm sure that you were friends with people in high school and even as recently as college. College was,
Mhm.
uh, you know, 7, 8 years ago, however long it was. But I'm sure there's people in high school and in college that you were really good friends with at one point that maybe you don't stay in touch with anymore. Or you're just, you have your new group of friends now. You're married and you guys got kids, right?
We got one.
One
We got
kid.
a
Yeah.
2-year-old
So
girl.
you might have new friends, but it's always funny I wouldn't necessarily say it's funny. I find it interesting how you could be on Instagram or something and an old face pops up and you click their page and like, dude, what happened to you? What happened? Like, I remember
Yeah.
getting after it with you and in the weight room and you were a great athlete and you got married and maybe had a kid or maybe neither of those and you're just living your life, but you really, really let yourself go. And I see that a lot. And I think that comes back to the aspect of being and getting comfortable, not having anything to train for or work for. But I always respect people that I haven't seen in forever, like you, for example. You haven't lost a step. You just keep getting better. What motivates you to just keep that up?
Oh, that's a great question, guy. Um, at this point, it's probably, I mean, at 31, it's probably an unhealthy relationship with workout and training. And like, I'm being facetious with that, but it's that I never want to have the best, I never want to have my best shape behind me, if that makes sense.
Total.
Like, always kind of mentally finding that next goal, finding that next step, what's gonna, and I think it's just that itch that has been there since we were training together in high school, that kept going through college. I don't think that's ever been totally satisfied. And up until last year, I had a really big goal of like wanting to be very competitive in CrossFit, just as like a, this is what I'm going to do on the competitive side of things. This is for me. I'm going to do that as like that's my hobby, and I'm doing that. And then when I turned 30 last year, Amber and I sat down on my birthday, and we were like, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do this anymore. Like it's such a time commitment, and I'm at 30 now. I might be done. I don't want to spend too much time with this now that we have Blakely, that's our daughter. And then that spring, I ended up making semis, which is like that's like the step before the games for CrossFit. And turns out like I'm in the best shape of my life now. And then it was like, okay, this stuff that I'm doing is really working. I'm just going to keep the ship rolling. And yeah, just, I don't know. There's like a level of satisfaction that I want to maintain, but always having that the best version of me is tomorrow. That's kind of the, at least in my mind, now that I'm saying it out loud, that's what makes the most sense to put it into words. Does that make sense? I've honestly never even really talked with people about that, I guess. Now I'm thinking about
Welcome to the podcast. Good to have you.
it. It's just,
I know
yeah,
exactly I know exactly what you mean. And I've been saying this, and I'm very, very thankful to have been saying this. And I don't say it out loud, but I'll say it on here because we're on the topic. It's been, gosh, I've probably been saying this since 2017, 2018 when we first moved to Nashville and I really started getting after it running and I was in the police academy and working out like crazy. I remember going on one run after we graduated and being like, I'm in the best shape of my life, hands down. And I was 22,
Hmm.
23. And I can legitimately say that I have internally said that every day for the past 7 years.
Yeah.
Like right now, today, I am in the best shape of my life. I'm in better shape than I was yesterday. I'm in better
Hmm.
shape than I was in 2017. And I'm just like constantly chasing that.
Hmm.
So I hear what you're saying. It doesn't end for me. Like
Yeah.
there's no end game. Even if you made the games, right? Like be like, I got to win this competition now. I got to be top whatever in the world now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's never gonna
Oh yeah.
freaking end. And I think that there's so many unfortunate things that people are addicted to, but
Hmm.
fitness and all of that, fucking send it, man. Like that's a
Yeah.
good addiction in my book.
Yeah. Yeah. There's nothing else worth pouring into like that. Just the character that it builds and the discipline that you get out of it. Um, I think a lot of it had to do with me being in the best shape of my life the past 2 years, and kind of the evolution my training's taken the past 18 months to 2 years is having Blakely, like, because she keeps me on a schedule. She keeps me wanting to be the best version of myself, to be the best example. I know she's only, you know, almost 2 right now, but eventually she's going to hear her stories, or she's going to know, she's going to see pictures. And like, I never want her to be like, I guess I just never want to make her disappointed. Not that she's going to be, but I never want to give it even a shot that like her dad wasn't trying, or to be the best that he could. Like, I want her to always try to be the best that she can, whatever that is, that's, but, just trying to set that example.
Has that been the biggest thing that's changed? And do you think that that's elevated your training, just the birth of your daughter, or is there anything else over the past, like you said, 18 months that you're doing now that is different than it was 18 months ago to kind of take you from here to here?
Brutal honesty
Yeah.
with myself, I would say. Um, in a lot of different ways, right? In your relationships, in your training, in your effort, in your nutrition, in your sleep. Are you really giving 100% to your sleep? Or are you sitting there scrolling on your phone for 10 minutes before you go to bed? Are you really diving into your nutrition? Or, yeah, I'm gonna have 3 more beers in the weekend. It's the little things like that, and keeping that in check too, because you got to live your life. You got to be social. You can't pull from this to satisfy. You got to. It's always about that balance. But um, being brutally honest about what I want and what it's going to take to get there. You know, and finding the realistic moves that you need to do.
Dive into a couple of those things. I'm curious from your point of view, what are the things that you're like, hey, I know you mentioned sleep, but what else were you realizing that I could do better in this or I'm lacking in this area?
Oh, um, on the training side of things, you'd
Yeah,
say, like
nutrition,
that.
training, just every day, like going to bed at the same time, waking up at the same time, any routine alterations that you've made to improve your performance.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, on the performance, on the fitness side of things, sleep, that's one of the most important ones that I've dialed in. Just being consistent about when I wake up. That's If you dial in when you wake up, that's going to affect so many things. But when your body can expect when it's going to wake up, it's going to really dial in those neurotransmitters that are coming up at the certain time.
And what time
So
is that for
staying
you?
4:45, my man,
Every day.
or every day. There's
Boom.
some days where, like that wedding we were at in Chicago, I woke up at 6. That was a little bit, but I was up too late. Um, so yeah, waking up at the same time, and then naturally your body's going to find the right go to sleep time. Find your right bedtime. And for me, that's right around 9, 9:15. Um, if I'm not on a screen, if I'm like reading or something, I'm out
Oh,
at
dude, I'm gonna have to get
9.
you out of here
But
quick then.
hey, like I said, you gotta have balance. It's worth I can take that. I can be a little bit slower in the morning, so an extra cup of coffee. Um, I stopped drinking caffeine after one. That's one thing Amber and I are big about, like not having
Okay.
caffeine after one. That helps with the sleep. Um, and then nutrition, 100%. You can't outwork a bad diet. My, if I don't watch what I'm eating, I naturally sit right around like 217, 219, 220, somewhere in there, which is a healthy weight. It's a strong weight. I'm fine there. But, right now I'm right around 207, 209 is kind of where I sit in a given day. And that's while I'm eating more carbs and paying attention to it all. I take in about 400, 450 a day
Mm.
and sit right around 200 grams of protein every day too. So that's all been dialed in about the past year and a half. Um, all that kind of came about was when I found out that I had a shot at making semis, and it was like, okay, what do I need to do in this 2 month period to get there? And that was like a microcosm of like, okay, I did it, it worked. Let's see what we can do with a year of it, and that's kind of where we're at.
Interesting. So is 207 pretty lean for you?
It's fairly lean for me. And this is going off an in-body scale, which is, not the most accurate, but that puts me right about 9% body fat.
Yeah, that's literally right where I'm at, but
Nice.
185.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, brother.
And we should be sitting,
Uh,
like 185 for me is pretty damn big, at least compared to my running days. I was, 175 high. I'd go into a race at like 180 just to pack on a couple extra pounds. But I feel good. And I want to
mhm.
be a little bit heavier, but I want to stay lean, keep that body fat down because it's getting warmer. Like, you don't want to be jiggling around when you get on the boat or whatever, go to the pool, whatnot,
Yeah.
get those garage workouts in, we got to let the neighbors know who the alpha is in the neighborhood.
Yeah, you can't be the neighborhood beta. If you're the beta in your neighborhood, it's not a your T is
Yeah.
instantly going down.
400 carbs, dude, that seems like a lot. I mean, you're 205 though. But what's the calories?
It puts me around 36 total
And how many are you
with the
burning a
fat,
day, you think?
right around 36.
So you're just
I'm at
you're just good.
I'm at 36.28 right now.
Interesting. Do you
Yeah.
not eat past a certain time?
No, I'll usually take in a little bit more right before bed, like 20 minutes before. And that's not like, if in an ideal world, I'd rather be sitting about an hour before, but my nights usually pack up so close to bedtime. So I usually take in an extra like 30 grams in before bed.
What's training look like for
Yeah.
you right now?
Right now that quarterfinals is over, I'm really hitting just one session a day. So it'll be one session. Mondays and Wednesdays, usually doing more ollie lifts. So I'll be hitting some snatches, hitting some
Yep.
cleans, hitting some jerks. Um, and then there'll be some accessory in there. So we'll be doing some single leg, uh, Bulgarian split squats, landmine deadlifts, things like that, just to keep everything balanced, keep the strength up. And then Tuesday's a little bit more your typical power lift. Might be doing some back squats, some tempo, some overhead pressing. And then there's always a conditioning session in there. Things are kind of lightening up now that we're past quarterfinals and past the competitive season, for me at least. But like today, I this is the time, especially in the summer, man. I mean, Michigan summer, Montana summer is where you want to be outside.
Hmm.
So I've gotten really into mountain biking lately too, the
Yeah,
past
good for
like year and a
you.
half. So like today, I went out for a 14-mile ride after I went training, just because I had some time in the afternoon. Just kind of seeing where it fits with it now, trying to have fun.
Yeah, good.
So
And that's the important
yeah,
thing too, is keeping training fun. Everybody wants to know, and we can even throw the diet in here. Everybody wants to know that, what kind of diet should I be on? What kind of food should I be on? What type of workout should I be doing? And I tell everybody the same thing. The diet and the workout plan that you can stick to that's manageable
Oh
for
yeah.
you and
Oh
it's
yeah.
fun for you. Like you wake up or you're driving to the gym after work, whatever time it is that you can get in there, and you're kind of excited. You're
Hmm.
excited. It's important to be, yeah, it's gonna be difficult and it should be, but it's a good difficult. You're getting better. You want to be excited to train. You want to be not necessarily excited to be on your diet, but you need it to be maintainable. You want to be able to hold that. And then like with the clients that I have, dude, I just 80/20, dude. Be dialed throughout the
Yeah.
week and send it on
Yep.
Saturday. Live your life.
Yep.
But come Sunday morning, like get back to your shit. Don't go get
Hmm.
that huge breakfast. Don't do get back on it. You're not gonna get fat in a day. I always tell people that, man. That's true.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. You're not going to get fat in a day. It's it's a decade of bad habits to get fat,
Yeah.
but it's also a decade of good habits to get dialed in. It's everything takes consistency.
Yeah.
I love the 80/20. I think it is such a good thing for people to wrap their heads around. It's such a good tool.
I have to do it, man. Like there's
Yeah.
not a week that goes by that I'll pick my day, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, where I'm not
Mhm.
going to eat whatever the fuck I want to eat.
Yeah.
Like I have to, because then if I don't, I can't maintain the diet that I'm on. It gets
Yeah.
to be a job. If I don't
Yeah.
get to splurge on a Saturday with my wife, go out and eat whatever I want, dude, I'm not going to be able to hold it. I'm going to cheat on the next Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably cheat the following day after that. I have to have that one day. It's something to look forward to, man.
Yeah. You got to have the thing to look forward to. If you, I mean, 3 meals a day over 7 days, you got 21 meals. Dude, just get four meals is all. Like, you get 4 meals on your own. That's plenty. That's plenty.
Easy.
You can fit those in yeah. It's get Chipotle those nights. It's all good.
I agree. What else we got, man?
Um,
You got something for me?
yeah, I wanted to ask you about training for hunting
Yeah.
and what you got going over there. Um, I have a couple clients over here in Holland that have, one of my clients, he'll go out to I think he's going out to Idaho this year. One of my clients going out to Wyoming next year. And in that, they like to do the pack in, pack out. They'll do
Yep.
like the 8, 9 day trip, hiking in, hiking out. And that's the hunt fitness industry is still just, I mean, you're part of it. You're the ones leading that spear, training for it. And have you found that the training that you're currently doing has helped you in that regard?
Without a doubt. And I used to think that running was the end all be all for that. That's kind of how I originally got into that ultra stuff because I was like, dude, if I can run all day, I
Hmm.
damn sure can hike all day. Like if I can
Yeah.
run these mountains, I know that I can hike them. Shit, it's no problem. But then you're losing some of that strength aspect.
Hmm.
And you can never really account for having 100 pounds on your back and being 4 miles away from the truck. And
Yeah.
it's 11 p.m.
Yeah. I've
Endurance is
heard,
great and I'm all for it, but you better have freaking, along with strong lungs, you better have a strong mindset and you better have some meat on your legs and on your ass too, because you're going to need
yeah,
that muscle, man. You're gonna need it.
I've heard from multiple people now that the pack out is the most challenging physical thing they've done.
It's the hardest thing I ever did. This past one I
Yeah.
had in November. I've talked about it on here with a buddy of mine. We shot two bulls, 4.5, 5 miles from the truck, and it was 48 hours of just fucking misery.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was terrible.
48 hours.
Yeah, I think it took like 47 and yeah, it was like 2 days worth. It
You're
was
carrying that in the sack?
in our backpacks, yeah.
How much you
Yeah.
have in each one?
On the first load, no fucking idea because we didn't weigh them. We went back the next day to get the rest of the meat, and my pack was like 100 even. Kobe's was like 105, and we had a buddy come out, Travis, and his was like 112 or something like that. It's tough, man. It's freaking hard.
How'd you rope Travis into it? How are you like, hey, you got a day to go walk out with us and then put 112 pounds in your back and come back to our truck?
The funniest thing about that is we found these bulls way back in, and I was like, "Hey man, you need to shoot them. Like you saw them, you shoot them." And my buddy Kobe's like, "Fuck that. Like we're getting you your first elk, you're shooting." And they were just both laying down next to each other perfect. I was like, "Dude, I'm gonna shoot that one, and then you're gonna shoot the next one." And I mean, he's born and raised out here, so he kind of already knew the deal. We're way too far from the truck. One is plenty. Two was a nightmare. And of course, as soon as
Mm-hmm.
I shot mine, I'm like, shoot him, Kobe, shoot him. He's like, fuck, all right. Shot him, was excited for 5 seconds, and then was like, what did we just do? I was like, dude, we'll be fine. Like, I had no idea, right? I was like, we'll be good, man. Don't worry about it. Like, we got this. 4 miles,
Yeah.
nothing. He's like, Geig, we're fucked. He's like, we're going to need some help. So I was like, all right. My buddy Travis knew that we were going out. He's like, call me if you get one. I'll come help. So I hit him on the satellite and was like, "Hey, we just shot two bulls. Can I take you up on that pack out?" And he
Hmm.
responds back, "I'd come, but my tire's flat. Like he's got a messed up tire." And my buddy Kobe, who has never met Travis before, looks at me and he's like, "I was like, no, actually, his tire is like jacked. It's been messed up since the last time him and I went out. Like his truck's messed up." He's like, "Are you sure?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And so Kobe and I did it. And then we got Travis on the second go around. I was like, what if we just come pick you up? And we suckered him into it. And thank God for him because we would have had to make a third trip. But he's just good people, man. He
Yeah.
knows that if he gets one this year, which he will, he always does, and he calls either Kobe or I that we owe him one. And that's just how it rolls,
Hmm.
man. These guys know how hard it is, and any little help that you can get, you'll take, man. You'll take it.
Yeah. It'll all come out in the wash. You're
Exactly.
he's gonna need you one day, and
He
you're gonna be
will.
there.
He will.
Yeah. You like it out there? Obviously you do.
Love it here, man.
Yeah.
It's right down my alley. It was always kind of like a dream to come out here and hunt, and it's so funny. I've told this on here a few times as well, but people will ask me, "Why'd you move to Montana?" And I'll look them dead in the eye and just tell them to hunt elk. And they'll be like, "No, like for real, why did you move to Montana?" And I'm like, "My my answer stands. Like I'm dead freaking serious."
Yeah.
Um,
It's a good time for it too. That's such a so many people moving out there that way.
yeah, and it's interesting because what I've learned about Montanans, and a lot of people are from here that listen to the show, and they can take it with a grain of salt if they want. They're very territorial,
Hmm.
which I understand because they don't want people coming here and fucking up their state. And I get that. I respect that. They don't want you to come from name your state and bring all your bullshit baggage with you.
Yeah.
And I get that. So you gotta, when you meet people out here, you gotta prove your worth, so to speak, and let them know that you're not just some yuppie that moved out here and is bringing all your bullshit political views and all that. We don't get into that, but they stand on what they believe, and
Oh yeah.
I respect it. It's very interesting, dude. They have these, you got the election coming up, and I'm sure you see all like the Michigan political things for governor and everything else that they
Hmm.
run, and they are dogging on this one dude so bad on like the local channels here. His name's Tim. I think his name's Tim Sheeny. And these people are bashing on him so bad. They're like, he's just another rich out of stater that bought a ranch and is pretending to be cowboy. And my wife and I just laugh every time. But some people are like that. They're like, fuck these out of state people that are coming here and messing everything up. And I get it because it's such a beautiful place, and the standards and the morals are what they are. And you just kind of gotta roll with it and just prove that you bring value here. It's a little bit different moving here at first, but I understand it
Hmm.
now.
Yeah. I totally get it. It's such a beautiful place in the it's something you want to preserve, but it's some like there's things are going to change. The only thing that's constant is change.
Yes.
So,
And everybody's from
and
somewhere, dude. That's what I always say.
right. Yeah,
Everybody's from somewhere.
that's a good point. I mean, all those ranchers, how long, I mean, how many generations have they been there? I know some of them been there for like four, but
I know people who
some
are
that are less.
five, fifth, sixth generation. I had a guy on here a couple months ago. His name's Marcus, great guy, and we had this conversation because he's a fifth or sixth generation Montanan, and we talked all about it. So that's why I feel comfortable, like just basically reiterating what it is that him and I spoke about. But it's just it's always been like that. That's how their parents were brought up. That's how he was brought up. But he tries not to live exactly like that anymore and give people a fair shake and give people a chance and get to know them. And like with me, the best thing that I can do is I'm like, let's go hunting. Like you'll see what I'm about.
Mhm.
Let's go out hunting. And I prove my worth in that aspect. So
You get to get to see someone's real colors when they're hunting, right?
for sure, for sure. And same within the weight room. A lot of the
For
things that
sure.
I like to do, and same with you, you really get to see what somebody's about.
Mhm.
You know, you can't
Gotta,
just go to the bar and like that's a shitty way to meet a new friend. Like watching the game, getting fucked up, drinking. It's like you don't really know anything about them. You don't know like what makes them tick, like what they're about when shit gets tough, right?
yeah. Yeah, it's a special bond that you get with someone when you're in the shit together.
Yeah, like look at your
Whether
Murph
that's
yesterday. Look how everybody
oh,
bonded together, right?
oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's fucking special.
It is.
But
And then have some beers and some hot dogs and some bullshit food and then talk about it and get to know each other further after that. But do the
yeah,
hard stuff first, right?
yeah. Um we ended up I told you we had the hog roast
Yep.
after Murph. I messaged that. So we got it done, built the pit, whole hog. First time I ever done that. That was wild. But we just sent out a text to the gym. Just see like, hey, come on over. This is the address. Bring a chair, bring something to eat. And we ended up having like 55-ish people here at the house, which we got a 3 bedroom house. It's not a big house.
That's so
It's a
cool though.
it's your typical Michigan. So we had 55 people here, and people were just talking about Murph like the whole time. I'm like, all right, guys, like CrossFit's cool. Yeah, push ups and air squats. But it's for them, man. Like they haven't been doing it for 10 years like I have. Like
It's a big deal to do a
it's
workout
a
like
big
that.
fucking deal. It's a
Yes.
big fucking deal. And it's so cool to see how proud they are of that and like sharing that with each other and the bond that they had together because of that. That's some cool shit.
And you'll laugh, dude, because going back to kind of how we started, I mentioned, when I get home, I try to get into the gym and especially see AT, who's obviously played a big influence in your life, and same with me, and same with a lot of people who listen to this. And so is your dad. When I go in there, he's like, "Hey, me and Mr. Bauer are working out at this time. You coming?" I'm like, "Absolutely." And I didn't used to train like they do, right? They pick a card
Mhm.
and they'll do something for time or they'll do it a couple times through. But it's hard, man. You've done them.
Yeah.
We've all done them. Those workouts that they do, they push you and they make you find out like, yo, kind of really where you stand. And
Hmm.
those two guys, your dad being one of them, has kind of sparked that flame again for me to start training like that way more consistently, which has been really,
Yeah.
really fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun is the right word for it. It's type two fun. It's
Yeah, type two.
yeah. Yeah. Denny B, man, he still gets after it.
Big
I
time, man.
I pray that I'm still moving like he does when I'm in my 60s like that,
And
dude.
he had both
That's
his knees repaired, right? Last time I was talking to him, I think.
he got one replaced. He's had one worked on quite a bit. And
Okay.
dude, we were down there for we were over there for Christmas this past year,
Is he 60?
and he's 65, almost 60, 65. Yeah. And dude hit 275 for a six banger on the squat.
No
No
big deal.
problem on those knees just because he's done it. He does it every week and he just maintained it. Like that's yeah. And he I mean he gets after it. He he does nutrition too. I work with him on nutrition, and but he's he works hard. And having AT too to keep him accountable
Yeah.
is good. There's just the culture that they've built for themselves, and I think that this is specifically with AT, like the culture that he's built for himself that's rated out through Chelsea Athletics, through us, and it's incredible. It's incredible that what that culture has done. I know you've had AT on, I know you've had Paulson on. Like people don't get like how different like that is to grow up in, and yeah, as much as we can emulate that is just gonna radiate out even more. That's so
And that's what's been so cool, like having BP on. Like that was a couple years ago, year and a half, whatever it was. And, he's doing his thing with power strength. And I
mhm.
always knew that I was going to get you on. I was just kind of waiting for the right time. And I know that you have your own gym. Did that inspiration come from Adam at all, or Brian, or your dad? What made you want to go this route?
I think it was always there. Um, I knew that I would always end up in something like this. The real kicker, well, I guess that's not. I mean, I always knew that I'd be something in movement. When I was in high school, I wanted to get into orthopedics, and so when I went to Michigan, the idea was that I'd end up going to med school, doing orthopedics, and doing sports ortho. And I was on the track, and I ended up doing this clinical rotation for what's called intraoperative neurophysiology. It was going to be a resume pattern. It sounds super complicated. It's not. And so I'd be in the ORs all the time with these residents at U of M, yada, yada, yada. I ended up finding out that they do not have a life. It's not the life that I would want to have in my 20s, essentially giving up your 20s. And so I was like, all right, I'm going to do this in the meantime while I figure out what I want to do. And I started coaching CrossFit on the side when I was in Massachusetts. And this is shortening up the story a little bit. I ended up, when I was in Charleston, and I was still coaching CrossFit, the head of vascular surgery from MUSC came up to me and he was like, I hope you understand the good that you're doing here through this coaching. He was like, you're going to do much more good through this than I ever will as a surgeon. And that was like the click for me. I was like, okay, this is something that's worth putting a lot of myself into if it's going to mean that much to people, you know? And so from then it was like, okay, do I coach personal training? Do I want to do high school athletics and kind of just what's the best way that I can leverage myself? And then decided to move home, start the business. Uh, BP was a super big help with that because he's in obviously Grand Rapids. He's got experience managing that whole team. And so talking with him about, how to set it up, equipment, business tactics. I ended up getting a mentor as well. But yeah, all that stems back to just kind of that culture that was set from AT from the get-go. Look at what's happened from our school between you, me, myself, B. Paulson. There's another Chelsea grad that owns a gym in Grand Rapids, another Chelsea grad that owns a gym in Farmington Hills. Like that's just the way it goes. It's got to be a part of it for
Yeah.
Chelsea athletics. Anywho,
No, there's something that clicks for those people, right? Like something clicked with me where I'm like, dude, I'm always gonna live like this. I'm always gonna
yeah.
have health and fitness and weightlifting and this mentality forever. And
Mm-hmm.
it clicked with you, it clicked with BP, and like you named off a couple other people. But with some people, it really sticks, and we all have our certain like pinpointed moments where you're like, oh, the lights just turned on, and then
Yeah.
they haven't gone out. I just keep replacing the bulb, dude.
Keep replacing the bulb. Yeah. Yeah. Just find that thing that lights you up and get up and do it again tomorrow.
Yes.
Flick
Let's
that
talk.
light on.
Let's talk fatherhood, man. What?
Yeah.
So, did you read the baby books?
I did. I read two baby books.
Okay, which ones were
There
they?
was um One was the birth partner, which had more to do with the support of mom leading up to it, and then supporting the two of them after the birth. That was so it was more about like the physical health of them. Um, I read that one, and I can't remember what the second one was. I'd have to go down and look. Someone gave me a dad joke book, but that was I read like just a couple of ones in there. Yeah, I honestly haven't done too much reading for it. I think I had a lot of good examples to pull from.
Did you feel prepared throughout the pregnancy? You specifically.
Mm, no, no. I mean, there's good. I mean, everything that happens is new.
Yeah.
Everything that happens, and even you read about it, you look online like, oh, they're this big. This is the things that you can expect that your wife's going to feel. But like, even when you even when you know it's going to happen, it's still a surprise, and you don't feel like you're prepared. But it's so cool. It's cool when you're fine. It's because every day is new. That's what's awesome about it. There's
Yeah.
no routine to it. You're always adapting, which is yeah, not as fun for her. I actually kind of fucking enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm just curious, man. And how has the past 2 years been? Just a huge, I wouldn't really call it, I don't know if the right term is a learning curve, but are you are you finding yourself kind of getting the hang of it where, this is what it takes to be the dad it is that you want to be. This is what it takes to be, you know, the good husband and manage all this. And how has just being a new dad been for you over the past 2 years? Is it what you expected it to be or feel like?
No, no, it feels I mean, this is gonna sound cheesy. It feels better than I thought it would. And and I don't know if you guys are planning on having kids or not, but everyone's gonna tell you that it's gonna be the best thing that's ever happened to you. And that you could never love anything more than you love them. And you're like, yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, I get it. I get it. But same thing. You might know it and people tell you, but you're not prepared for it when it happens. Like it's the fatherhood, like I always knew I wanted to be a dad. Like I feel like I've always had like the dad in me. I've had really good examples and I was like, I can't fucking wait to be a dad because I know I'm going to be great at it. Just because I know that I'm going to love them as much as I possibly can. But like I felt like I wasn't the full version of me until she was here. Like I didn't feel like I had like that was grown within me yet until she was here. And like knowing that you can wake up at 2 a.m., at 4 a.m. if you need to, and put her back to sleep and get shitty sleep, wake up the next day, go to work, give it your all there, come back and be dad again and try to be the best husband that you can be. Like knowing that, and maybe this stems back to kind of the shit that we put ourselves through, knowing that you can be in that discomfort of like being tired, being, not rested, you're probably not feeding yourself right, you're over caffeinated, you're probably not taking care of yourself the best you can. But you got to be a happy dad. You can't be a shitty dad and be pissy with your kid, with your wife. So finding that you have that reserve tank is really fucking cool. Really cool.
Do you have any tips or tidbits for new or expecting fathers? It goes back to that thing, right? The diet and the workout. Everybody wants the secret
Yeah.
sauce, and there's really no point blank, period answer. But do you have anything that comes to mind where it's like, this is what I've done, it seems to work for me?
Yeah. Uh, dial in your sleep. First off, get your sleep dialing. When she goes down, don't stay up and watch 3 episodes of Yellowstone. Don't do that. You're in Montana. You don't need to watch Yellowstone anyways. Like sleep when they're little, sleep when they sleep. That's like if they're taking a nap, pop down for 30 minutes, take a little power nap. That's going to be a huge help. But dude, when they're born, I someone told me this. Do you remember David Slusser?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Steve Sluss told me this. He was like, when you're in the hospital, he's like, soak up every little moment of it. You're going to want to get out. You're going to want to go home. But it's like those first couple days are so special. So soak that up when you're there. Stay there as long as you can and just be the three of you while you're there. But dude, let it. I don't know how to say this. It's like let it hit you as hard as it can. That's what I would say. Like back to the gratitude. Like be grateful for every second that you get with them because they're growing up every second. And there's all those cheesy country songs about don't blink or you're gonna miss this. And it's crazy. It feels like I had her 4 months ago, and now she rides my bike with me and points out the trucks to me. Like that's fucking wild. She couldn't even lift her head up. It feels like you got to be grateful for every day because it's the only day with that version of them that you're going to get. You know, so it's a good practice in that you can't not be in the moment. So just be in the fucking moment.
I love that, dude. Well said. That might be the episode title. Be in the moment.
I love it. That's just about as cheesy as it gets. I think that fits.
No, I like asking new fathers and people that have been married for a long time, and it's always fun to just see what's worked for them. And that's all
Mhm.
this is. This podcast is just knowledge transfer.
Yeah,
That's all it is, man. People don't come on here to listen to me. They hear me all the time. There's gonna be people that have no idea who you are. They're gonna listen to this, but they might take something from you, and that's why I keep doing what I'm doing over here. It's because you can take something from everybody, and I mean, guys have a weird. I think it's getting better, but some guys are, they're not as open as maybe they should be because they don't want to put themselves out there, feel vulnerable about something, or maybe they think that they're gonna get portrayed a certain way. But we're all dudes, man. We're
hmm
all people. We're all dudes. We all go through things. And what's the good of having all this knowledge in a said field if you don't share it?
right.
So the more open the guest is, like you've been for just stuff like that, and how it is that you train and eat and all this other stuff, goes a long way because somebody, and you're not gonna see it, but somebody will take something from just hearing you talk and apply that to their own life, and it might work for them. So I appreciate it, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. You've seen is that why you do this? To give tools to kind of spread that information.
It's exactly why I do it, man. Like it started off as basically strictly a hunting podcast, and then I totally changed it up. And yeah, we kind of talked about hunting a little bit, but that's because you asked me a question. Like we can
hmm
talk about anything, and that's what this podcast is about, is just knowledge transfer. I don't know a lot,
Yeah.
but I know a little bit about certain things, and I'll share it, and I'll be honest
hmm
and transparent. And every single person I've had on here has done just that too. And they might not be into what I'm into or what you're into, but there's always something that you can take from everybody. And I truly, really believe that.
Yeah. Got to be a student.
That's it, dude.
Got to be a student.
There's no end, right?
Yeah. What's the quote that learning's the fountain of youth?
Yeah, something like that. Right
You're
around
you're
there.
never done.
You're
You're
never
never
done.
done.
And as soon as you think you got it figured out, you either need to switch hobbies or really check yourself because you're never going to have it all figured out, man.
Yeah.
You're never
Yeah.
going to have it all figured out.
We're all the older I get, the more I feel that no one knows what they're doing. No one knows what they're doing with. I mean, you might be well versed in this specific topic, but we're all just big fucking kids
Dude, we're
that
just trying to figure it out, man.
we're all just figuring it out together.
That's it. It's And people, that's what's so funny about the internet and podcasting and all this other stuff is that on the outside looking in, it's easy to think that somebody's got it all figured out, that their life's this and that, their life's that. Well, that's just what they're showing you.
Right.
So that's why I come on here and I'm like, well, it's really not all that great in some aspects of things, and this is why. And you
Hmm.
might not see that all the time, but if you listen to this, you're gonna hear it because it's life. It is what it is, man. You got to be transparent with
Yeah.
people, and that I think that's why people tend to listen every now and then on this thing.
Dude, I love what you're doing, man. I think this is so freaking cool. Um, I think that your specific niche of kind of going towards the hunting thing, but then that audience you've expanded to a lot more topics, and that's freaking badass. And I think you're doing a lot of good over there.
I appreciate it, man. It's a lot of fun. I've met a lot of really, I feel like I say this every week, but I've just met so many freaking cool people. And it's always
Hmm.
fun to talk to somebody such as yourself that I haven't talked to in what's you been married 3, 4 years.
Hmm.
And it's just cool to catch up with old friends every now and then on here and reminisce and then just see what they've been up to. And we've all came a long way, man. It's been really fun.
Yeah, Daddy Huey now.
I
He's
know,
got his own
dude.
kid.
I know.
Yeah.
I just sent him a funny ass reel and about like dumb shit that we used to do back in the day, and now he's probably burping his kid right now. So it's times have changed, man. We're getting old.
I know. He's a good fucking dude, man. Every time we meet up with him, I'm like, Joseph, fuck. I wish I'd known him better in high school. I mean, obviously we were different ages and different friend groups, but that's just a good dude right there.
He's solid. He's came a
Yeah.
long way.
Solid guy. Solid guy. Oh man. Yeah, I was before we hopped on here, I was thinking back, um, hanging out, during two a days and in the film rooms with you and Dignan shouting his smoke breath at us back in the day, Dignan. But the thing I always admired about you, like you weren't like the biggest dude. You had good height to you, but you weren't, I mean, you weren't 200 pounds in high school, right?
170 dog.
Yeah. But you were just a fucking gamer. You had the dog in you. I loved watching that. And I didn't get to play as long as I did, as long as I wanted to. Maybe that's why I'm still doing all this shit. Maybe I got that itch that never got scratched
That's it.
from that. But I mean, you always were just out there. You were smart. You had a good instinct for the game. You're just a fucking gamer. You just got in there, got the intensity in there. It didn't matter if it was a guard coming up to you, just getting after him. And I always appreciated that. Like the situation was never perfect, but you were always just in the fray. And that was fucking sweet. I always admired that in a lot of players, but you specifically, I remember like that dude's a fucking gamer.
I appreciate it, dude. You got to mix it up. If you're not mixing it up out there, I don't really know what the point of being out there is. And it was cool playing behind guys like you and Cook. You guys set the standard, really. I mean, just such good players and leaders, and there's no surprise that you're doing what you're doing now, dude. Like even when you were getting hurt and getting your bell rung and shit, like you were still right there coaching us on the sidelines. So it's no surprise that you're doing what you're doing now. Always knew you'd be some sort of coach or something like that.
Yeah, man, gotta pass it on. Gotta pass it on. If you get good mentorship, it's your duty to keep it going. So,
Yeah. Because
but
we've all had bad coaches, dude.
oh
We've all had
yeah.
bad coaches, and it's like, hey, don't be that guy. Like, you don't be that guy. But when you get a good coach, like Adam Taylor, dude, I've had a ton of coaches. AT is hands down the best coach I've ever had. Not even fucking close. It's like, so that's who I want to emulate doing what I do now, right?
Hmm.
Accountability, get after people when they need it, pat them on the ass when they deserve it. You know,
Yeah,
it's all that
yeah, yeah. We've had a lot of incredible models for that, and we're lucky to be able to pass it on.
without a doubt, dude. I want to be respectful of your time. I think we're
Yeah, but
just over an hour, dude. I know you're not really big on social, but if you want to let people know where they can find you if they like the conversation, uh,
yeah,
plug away, bro.
yeah. I've been trying to do it. I got because I have some deals on the gram that I'm supposed to keep up with, but Boom Chunk is the personal Instagram. Then Great Lakes Fitness Company is the business. So that's where we're coaching every day. So yeah, that's where I'm at, and then trying to get a little bit more active on. I like making reels. Turns out I like making fucking reels. They're fun. I don't
See,
know.
I hate doing
So
it, and my wife's like, "You need to post more, Tyler. You got to get out there, Tyler. You need to post more." I'm like, "Fuck no!" I'm the guy with the tripod in the gym and shit, trying to like film myself real quick when no one's looking. It's like, oh, all right, I'll do it. Whatever.
it's tough. It's tough doing the workouts. Like the tripod is, you feel like a bitch when you're putting that, when you're setting that up. It's not a good look, but it is. It's fun to make it. It's fun to make it. Once you have it in there, thinking about like what music you're gonna
Then you
set
get
to
that
it, and
song that hits that makes it so much better. You're like, oh, now it's
it's
good. You got to get that
once
song,
this,
bro.
yeah, yeah, exactly, man. And like, I don't know. I try not to take myself so seriously. Like if it's a stupid looking reel, then who really cares? I don't know.
No, as long as you like it, dog. That's what I'm about. Like, you ain't got to like it. You ain't got to watch it, but I like it, so I'm gonna throw it out there.
Right, right. The right people are gonna see it.
That's it, man.
Yeah,
Sick, dude. Thank you so much. This was,
our brother.
I love doing these, man, especially with, again, old friends. So really cool.
Yeah.
Appreciate your time, and we'll do it again here in a year or two.
Appreciate you having me on, brother. It's good to catch up.
Yes, sir. Stay on the line real quick.